I didn't take, as I said, Demolition Expert, but who needs, like, the difference between 2,000 damage and 3,000 with the unique Fat Man Esther against any enemy? Nobody, because they'll die. And I just feel that, like, a grenade machine gun is kind of like a niche usage, and you can replicate the damage bonus almost that those two ranks of the perk could give with Slasher and Yao Guai Meat. The next perk I would discuss is Jury Rigging. Jury Rigging allows you to repair items that don't have many items that can repair something with. Like if they only have one item, now they can repair almost everything from that class. For example, maybe you want to repair a plasma caster with a Gatling laser, you can do it. It makes it really easy to play the game and find something to repair and not spend thousands of caps on repairing, because some items otherwise wouldn't have anything you could repair them with. Now, at level 50, there's Just Lucky I'm Alive. It essentially adds onto the effect, or it multiplies from 1.5 to 2.25 times the critical damage of any given weapon. You want this, it'll work in conjunction with Elijah's Ramblings for melee, but it'll increase your damage for every single other weapon to 2.25 times. It's better than the other two perks, because you don't want 100 extra health. That's extremely marginal, and 10% extra damage with Thought You Died. And the increased attack speed, it doesn't work universally like for automatic weapons, and there's other ways to get that going. And critical damage is a better way to maximize melee damage anyway than attack speed. Now, you got Laser Commander. It's so good because it'll make the a unique weapon called the Compliance Regulator crit often enough that it's really effective for stopping any enemy. Like, you can stop 4 Deathclaws at once, or you can cheese a lot of the enemies in the game that might be hard by immobilizing them, like David did with the slingshot in the Bible to Goliath, and then kill them with a melee weapon. You can save on ammo that way too, rather than just like firing a machine gun and missing a lot at a moving target. No, it affects the other weapons I use, and since its critical chance is a flat bonus, it'll benefit Gatling lasers and make them viable. Light Touch does a similar thing. It stacks with the effect of Ulysses Duster, and you want this perk. Basically, you'll have maximized critical chance with a flat bonus to your critical chance that doesn't come from the multiplier. It's just additive. If they had stuff like that, all the way up to like 50% critical chance, automatic weapons would be broken. Now, you do have the perk Lonesome Road, which you just have to leave Edie in the silo, but it does have a lot of roleplay implications, so pick it if you want. It gives you more damage, but you have to do potentially a very bad thing, because you can't stop the nukes that way. Mad Bomber gives you access to microfusion cell clusters, which are like a mix between like cluster bombs and like, it's like kind of like a mine, but it also works like a grenade. It's pretty cool. And Nuka grenades, which are very powerful explosives, no matter what. They're almost like the holy hand grenades of Antioch you can get in Wild Wasteland. Meltdown gives you plasma explosions for every laser weapon. It's practical for crowd control, and it's just really fun to watch. Now, Nuka Chemist is important if you want to make use of those Nuka grenades, because you can't make many when there's a limited number of Nuka Quantum. But this way you can brew Nuka Quantum at your pleasure. Purifier is another perk, and it affects Deathclaws, and it'll make your melee game against Deathclaws quite powerful. I highly recommend it because they're some of the only enemies in the game that are even worth fearing or fighting. Now, there's Pyromaniac, which is kind of a personal choice. You may or may not want it, but Pyromaniac will give you plus 50% damage with any fire weapon, which I think for a single perk is quite significant. You may or may not want the weapons it affects, but I think it can work pretty well with, like, say, Gehenna, the unique shish kebab, and the aforementioned Purifier perk. Radchilds will give you 8 healing per second, 8 points, hit points restored every second when you're at deadly rad poisoning. Makes you really effective to heal with radiation while you're in a combat situation, rather than have to lean on stim packs and all that kind of stuff. It saves you resources in typical situations. Then you've got Slayer, which increases your attack speed, more attacks per second, more criticals. Simple as that. Then you've got Super Slam, your melee attack speed. You take that, and you have a percent chance to knock down an enemy. Basically, you can stun lock enemies and win that way. Then there's Then's Good Eatin', which may or may not be necessary, but in terms of practicality, it does add 2 healing items to the game that are very effective, and they are ubiquitous. Almost every single enemy has them. So you want this perk, I think, because you can upgrade these healing items. They sell for a lot, so it's a guaranteed source of money. And they will ultimately give you more healing opportunities. It ties into the theme of versatility of this build. And finally, I describe Voracious Reader, which is a perk that, like I said, combines with comprehension to give you a limitless supply of critical boosting true police stories magazines.